You're listening to episode 5 of Drunk Athlete.
Welcome to Drunk Athlete, the podcast where we sit down with everyday athletes over a few beverages and talk about the trials, tribulations, and glory of their favorite subject, their sport, and themselves. Hosted by Big Pistachio's own Coach Aaron Truslow.
Hi there. Thank you so much for being here with us with episode 5 of Drunk Athlete. Today, I'm really excited to introduce you to Christina Edwards, a competitive age group triathlete, busy full-time working mom with 2 kids and a husband. And we sit down and chat with her during her busy schedule to talk about how she does it all and all the tips and tricks that she has up her sleeve to get it all done and to make it happen every day. And Christina, she's got a lot of great ideas, so listen to the whole podcast, and hopefully you'll come away with some great tips. Hi, Christina. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I am great. Welcome to Drunk Athlete. What are we drinking today?
We are drinking Live Oak Hefeweizen.
You know what?
It is a local beer.
It's local.
I can't believe you've never had it before.
I haven't.
But I'm glad I got to introduce you to it.
Yes, I pre-gamed with one, and now is another one. So we're gonna keep this party going.
Sounds good.
Yeah, it's a holiday weekend. Why not? So I met you a while ago. I've known you kind of for a while. I believe I'd known you before you were married, right?
Yeah. Pure Austin, maybe?
Pure Austin.
Some trigger pointing classes.
Yes. Okay. So I believe we had the same coach.
I never actually had him as a coach.
Oh, okay.
My husband did, but I did not.
Okay.
They were just great friends and did some of the pack stuff. So
okay,
with Sean, but
yeah, Sean Bostad.
Yep.
Who's now got his own coaching, Steelhead coaching in Portland, Oregon.
Decided to leave us.
I know. He went for cooler temperatures.
I know. I'm jealous right now.
What a wuss. Do you think he'll hear this?
We'll make sure he does.
Anyways, it looks like they're doing great. But I always thought you were one of his athletes too. So maybe in heart you were.
He would let me sneak into the Masters swims. I loved that he coached them because I could always find a lane. And then I was part of PAC, so, I could take the trigger point classes, and I did a lot of the track workouts and stuff. But I think at that time I was actually coached by Brendan Marsh.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Brandon. I love those guys. Awesome. So I do remember rolling around on the floor with you and your husband at those trigger point classes. And
Not like that.
It was great. It was great. And the next time I really was trying to remember was at a Livestrong event that I was working with, and I believe you were working or volunteering with them. And I think I probably should.
So I
pull it up.
used to work at Livestrong.
Yes. Okay. And I was volunteer coordinator for the Livestrong events with Medalist Sports and Cadence Sports.
Yep.
And the one here in Austin, I remember you guys were here and having a lot of fun.
The marketing for those challenge events and worked with Gary and Brian and Leslie at Medalist and Chris and all of those guys. So,
That was good. That was
lots
fun.
of sleepless nights, lots of Red Bull.
Yeah.
It was a different part of my life.
Mine too. And then I believe you borrowed my blue Townie bike for your engagement photos. Is that right?
Forever have those as cherished memories.
It was really cute.
Yes, I did borrow that bike, and we did use it for our engagement photos, and we have one of them framed, actually.
How cute.
Yes.
That is awesome.
It was the perfect bike for that.
It was. It still is. It's in my shed. I need to get it cleaned up take it back out, put a new basket on the front.
Oh, that basket was awesome.
It is awesome. I could do what in my neighborhood here.
Maybe we can relive some engagement photos.
We could do that. We could definitely do that. With the Townie, I like riding my bike over to the local Dairy Queen and then coming back.
I mean,
it's not really a workout, but
that Townie has Rookie Try written all over it, Aaron.
You know what? It probably does. It probably does. Well, it's got like 21 gears, so I should be able to make up those hills.
I mean, you can get those hills, right?
Awesome. So, okay, Christina, what do you do for a living?
I do marketing at IBM.
Nice.
Yes.
Full-time job?
It is a full-time job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you have 2 kids?
I do.
How old are your kids?
West is 5, and he'll be heading into kindergarten in August. And no, I am not ready. I'm going to be one of those moms that people judge, like, she doesn't have it together. What is she doing? And then I have a daughter, Wynn, and she is 3.
That's West.
So they're 20 months apart. Yeah.
So, and you've been in triathlon for how many years?
I did my first triathlon in 2006. My first 2 back-to-back weekends. Thought I was going to drown.
Okay.
On that first one, and then I thought I have to do this again next weekend. Bad idea. So I started in 2006, so 11 years, I guess.
11 years.
Yeah.
So, have you taken time off?
Yes, when I got pregnant with West, let's see, he was born in February, so I think I took off most of the season before that, the summer before that, and then I think I did my first race with him in September. I did Kerrville.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so he was like, I don't know, 7 or 8 months.
Wow. So you got back into it quick.
I did. I got back into it quick, but it was just an Olympic. And then I did the Houston Marathon that January. So the next January. He was born in 2012. January 2013, I did the Houston Marathon. And then I was pregnant with Wynn in February of 2013, and she was born in November of 2013. So I took off most of that year, and my husband at the time was way into racing, so he did like 4 or 5 half Ironmans that summer, right before she was born, knowing I couldn't race. So
he's like, I got a free
he
pass.
took full advantage, yes. And he was getting really slim down into his racing weight, and I was like, no, you can't get down below what, because I was rapidly gaining weight being pregnant. And I was like, there's no way you can be below what I weigh. So luckily he didn't make it, but I would have been really sad. Just
keep sabotaging him, handing him like Twinkies and
trying to.
Donuts. Keep eating. Yeah. So so you said you did your first triathlon was back-to-back weekends. What were those?
I think it was Jack's Generic down at Ski Ranch, Texas Ski Ranch. And then the next weekend was one called Dillo Man. Okay.
It's long gone.
Yeah, I'm sure it's long gone. I don't even remember where that was. Yeah. But I remember, like, Greg was telling me, so my husband Greg had done some triathlons before me, and he was telling me how fast I needed to go in transition. And so I remember getting off the bike, and he's like, faster, faster. And I, like, thought I was going to die in transition because I was trying to go so fast and I couldn't breathe. And then I got on the run, and, historically I thought I was a runner. And I couldn't even breathe. I was like hyperventilating on the run because he had told me I needed to go so fast in transition. And yeah, that was miserable. It's a miserable experience.
Those first ones are really
Obviously,
hard.
That's why I kept going back to it.
So miserable. We're just going to keep doing it till we get it right.
Exactly.
Were you athletic before you started doing triathlon?
Yeah, I was a soccer player my whole life. Okay. So played pretty much at every level.
Nice.
Yeah. So I played really seriously in high school, played club, played ODP, which is the Olympic Development Program.
Oh, wow.
Now, granted, I lived in a small town in eastern Washington. Played on a traveling club team. And then, like, my parents are immigrants. They knew nothing about college and the recruiting process. So I would say I got recruited to pretty low-level D1 schools, and from an athletic and an academic perspective. And I knew that I needed to find my own way into college. Like, I needed to pay for it. And my parents were really not excited about me going to, like, a lower academic school. So the only schools I could really afford were state schools, which were not knocking on my doors. Okay. So I went to the University of Washington, where I tried to walk on. I did not make it. And then the next year, they asked me to come onto the team. Desperate times call for desperate measures. And they were down a goalkeeper. I played goalkeeper pretty seriously, but hadn't played goalkeeper for a while. This girl that they were recruiting named Hope Solo. If you follow soccer, you may or may not know her.
I may have heard that name.
I grew
once
up with
or
her,
twice
played
before.
soccer with her, and she basically said, well, Christina played keeper. So they asked me to come and be the backup keeper. And then Hope wasn't even in college yet. She'd just come for her scouting trip. She ended up playing at UW. But then I was going to try to make it on for a field the next year, and I dislocated my ankle pretty badly playing basketball with the team. And they didn't know if I'd ever run again, actually. So that pretty much ended that. But obviously, I still run today.
Yes.
So luckily, having the best, I think I had the football doctor, the head basketball doctor, and the soccer doctor, all kind of looking over my ankle and making sure, what the best medical treatment would be for me to get back athletically. So in that respect, I got really lucky to have the best kind of doctors you could fixing me up.
Wow. Okay. So, super athletic from the get-go. So then what brought you to triathlon besides your husband telling you just to go faster?
Well, so I moved to Austin for grad school. And at that time, I was still kind of playing soccer. I dabbled in, they call it semi-pro soccer. I don't really know what that means in New York. So I continued to play soccer after college. I got into weightlifting, which I put on like 25 pounds. I was huge. I put muscle on pretty quickly. But my boyfriend at the time lifted, and I didn't know what else to do, so I started lifting. And then when I moved to Austin, I decided to train for my first marathon off the internet. Knew nothing about marathons except for that my dad runs marathons. Like my whole life growing up, he ran marathons. So I thought I'll try one. Again,
can't be that hard.
Plan off the internet. Got pretty injured because I ramped up really quickly. Had no base. Knew nothing about endurance sports. Made it through the marathon in a horrible, for me, time. Was very, very, very humbled. Felt like I could do better. Called my parents, told them how I did. My mom was like, oh, as a marathon wife, she's like, oh, good, you did a marathon. You never have to do one again. My dad was like, you could do better. And I was like, yeah, I could do better.
Yeah. Came
back the next year, did much better, better trained. Again, Greg started dabbling in triathlons. I was like, I never want to do that. Never do I want to do that. Bought a road bike. Started biking with him and some other guys. So the way I learned how to ride a bike was on 360, going up hills with the guys.
Okay, that explains why you're so fast and so strong.
Didn't know any better. Just try to hang on. And then he actually did his first half Ironman in Florida. Okay. It was the Florida 70.3. Mm-hmm. And he had a pretty rough day out there. I would say he bonked on the run. And for whatever reason, seeing him do that inspired me. I was like, I can do that. I don't know why. I mean, seeing him suffer made me want to try it. It's just the weirdest thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah.
So that's when I signed up for my first triathlon.
That's pretty cool because, you actually saw something in him that was probably unique. You hadn't seen that part of him before, but at the same time, you were like, okay, this is real. I can do it too. I know I can do it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was the challenge and the suffering and the accomplishment all kind of in one because he finished. And I think he was really hurting, but just the achievement. And I think it was also just seeing everyone else out on the course. I was out there all day cheering him on, seeing him at different spots, and seeing just people all different shapes and sizes and ages. And it was something where it just inspired me. Like, I can do this. If these people are out here doing it, I can do it.
Yeah, yeah. And again, I've mentioned this before on other podcasts, but the community of triathlon is so amazing and so supportive. And when whole towns come out to race courses to cheer on total strangers, I mean, that's huge. That's it's so much fun. And obviously I race, but I can see how other people who haven't raced yet can get sucked into that and be
definitely.
like, I want people to cheer for me.
Right. Yeah.
I want somebody to hold a sign up and yell. So yeah. And that's why I think triathlon is still growing the way it's growing. So
yeah.
Excellent. So you've raced for like 10 years now, right?
10, 11 years.
10, 11 years. What's your favorite race? Well, let's go with what's your favorite distance?
Half Ironman.
Okay.
Is probably my favorite distance. It's really the only distance I do these days. Just having to prioritize kind of the races I do with the time I have. So.
Okay. And I definitely want to talk to you about how you organize your time with your 2 small kids and all that. But so half iron. So do you have a favorite half iron race that you do, or have done multiple times? Your favorite course?
So the favorite one recently is Victoria, which I just finished. I grew up in the Pacific Northwest. Victoria's in Northwest Canada, or in the Northwest in Canada, and it was just beautiful. For me, it was ideal racing conditions weather-wise. I struggle in the heat, even though I've lived in Austin for quite a while now. I just, it's hard. I think it's hard even if you've lived here your whole life. Just the heat can really take a toll on your body, and it was just so scenic. And if you're going to be out there, racing, why not do something where it's beautiful?
Right. And it is gorgeous out there. I haven't been to Victoria. That's just above Washington, right?
Yeah, so we flew into Seattle, and you can take a ferry over to Victoria.
I was trying to think about, I've been
totally
to Seattle.
recommend that race.
Yeah.
It's small, too. Like most, Ironman branded races are 2,500 athletes, and I think this one was 1,600. So
wow.
It felt more intimate. And it just, I loved it. I loved the course.
And now you're telling everybody about it, so it won't be so small anymore.
I had a lot of climbing. Well, to get out west, people don't, it can be a far travel depending on where you live. So
lake swim?
Yes, and it was just surrounded with trees, and it was funny because I go out there and I'm asking people what the water temperature is, and they're like, it's just perfect. It's 66. So I go out there and I do a practice swim, and I'm like freezing. I mean, I'm in a wetsuit, but my face is just freezing, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so cold, because I've been training in the quarry with a wetsuit in like 78 degrees.
Yeah.
And so it just felt, it obviously is perfect water temperature for a swim. You just have to get used to it. And being here and training in the water we have, it definitely felt cold.
We don't have many days of cold water.
No. Unless you're in Barton Springs, and I don't go all the way down there.
Yeah. Well, who wants to do a million laps in Barton Springs dodging people doing cannonballs off of the diving board? I've been there, done that. So, okay. So that sounds like an amazing race. I think I'm going to have to put that on my list.
Do it.
I'm going to do that. Excellent. And so I know that you are with Moxie Multisport.
I am.
You're like one of the originals.
I am, although he doesn't give me credit for being original because I took some time off when I had the babies. So Greg and I were kind of alternating years.
Okay.
Between having babies, like, oh, it's your season. Oh, it's my season. So there was like a year, I think, where I wasn't part of the team because I was busy with a
babies.
Newborn and being pregnant, that kind of stuff.
You should totally get credit for that.
I should.
You should
Blake.
totally get. So, just real quick with Moxie Multisport, I know they're everywhere. They're a big team, and the founder of Moxie, Blake, Upton, has opened a tri-shop.
Yep, a tri-shop and I think training facility out in Arizona.
Is it Tempe or Phoenix? Phoenix?
Sounds right.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Okay. Anyways, Blake, I want to come see your shop. So we'll go out there and hang out.
Good training.
I know.
Good winter training.
Winter training.
Yeah. Not right now.
Right now, no way. No way. Not going to do it. So awesome. So I know Moxie has people all over the U.S. on the team.
Yep. And
it's
some international too now.
International? That's awesome.
I think Australia and perhaps a couple other places.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it's really, really grown since when I started, and it was maroon kits.
The maroon kits. I remember that.
Blake and his idea, I remember we were riding like Parmer, and he was telling me his idea to start a club and kind of his vision, and I don't know, to see it go from kind of just a conversation on a bike ride to what it is today is pretty amazing. Yeah. A lot of, blood, sweat, and tears for him, but amazing to see how far it's come.
It has come a long way, and I have total kit envy, of course, because you guys have a new kit every 6 weeks, I think, and they're so cool. So it's been great to watch you guys grow. So it's been really cool.
Yeah.
It's been awesome. I definitely want to talk to you about how it is to be a mom with young kids and a triathlete and working full time. But before we get to that, because I know you probably have some good tips and things like that for other moms coming into
we'll see about that.
Sticking with your racing career right now, what do you think or do you know was your best race?
I think the race that stands out the most in my mind is the Austin Half Ironman. At the time, we called it Longhorn. Now it's called Austin 70.3.
Right.
Greg and I both raced it a week before our wedding. And I was just like, don't crash on the bike because I would not look good walking down the aisle in my wedding dress with road rash. But I remember training with him, and we did a lot of training together at that point. And I asked him, what are you going to, like, what's your goal on the run? And I think he said, like, 7:45s or 8s. And so I looked at him. I said, do you think I can do that? And he's like, yeah. So I really had no expectations, or I didn't know what to expect. I mean, I'd done a handful, but at that point, it really wasn't, like, data-driven. I just wanted to race for fun. I mean, I was competitive. I've always been a competitive person, but I didn't know what I was capable of. And so I know I was like first off the bike, which before power meters was my kind of pride and joy. Just be the fastest you can on the bike. And then I was running and I was hitting 8-minute miles and I really didn't think I could. And and 3 people passed me on the run in my age group, 3 women. And so I crossed the finish line and I just start bawling because I'm so upset. And I didn't really have a watch at that point when I raced, and so I didn't know how I did. I did 5 hours and 24 seconds, and at that point, I had never even thought about breaking 5 hours. But
5 hours and 24 seconds?
Yes, and if I had known, if I'd, like, worn a watch, right? But I just was crying because 3 girls had passed me on the run, and Greg looks at me, and he was like, how'd you do? I was like, I don't know, but 3 girls passed me on the run. And so I look at my watch, and it says 5 hours and 24 seconds, and he goes, you beat me. And I was like, what? And I ended up qualifying for Worlds. And it was a week before my wedding. And I was like, this is the best wedding gift I could give myself. So that race just stands out because I kind of shocked myself in terms of what I could do. I just had no expectations to even go that fast. Of course, it was crushing to be 24 seconds over or 25 seconds over breaking 5. But you know, making it to Worlds and, that was probably the race that stands out the most in my mind.
That's really cool. That's really cool. And did you come in 3rd or 4th, or were the people who passed you pros?
I was in 4th.
Okay,
but I think the girl who won it,
so fast.
Her run time was like sub 1:30, and I was like, I can't run that without swimming and biking. So she was untouchable to me, you know?
Yeah. And that's a hard course. That's always been, no matter how much they change up the bike course.
Yeah.
The run course has pretty much been the same.
Right.
It's very hilly. It's hard. It's hard. It's hot.
3 loops. There's no shade.
There's no shade.
Partially on dirt.
It's either super windy, super hot, or raining. I mean, it's just a weird time of year.
Yeah.
So it's a really hard course. So that's 5 hours and 24 seconds is just amazing. So great job. That's cool.
Thanks. Yeah, no expectations. So I think that's why it felt so good, because I didn't really even know what to expect or what I was capable of.
Some of my best races have been on days where I was like lining up and going, you know what? This is for fun. I'm going to have a really fun day today, and I'm just going to, for funsies, and I ended up on the podium.
Yeah.
And the days where I'm like, I got to do this, I got to do this, I got to hit this time, I got to do this, and I was just so numbers focused, is when I tend to break up a little bit and not be as strong. But the days I'm just relaxed and have fun and don't really care what the numbers are, or the days that I go faster.
I agree. I mean, I think it's been an evolution, because I've gone through, you know, the stage where I've been really serious, and I don't think anyone would say I'm not serious now, but I think this year especially I've been trying to focus on doing more of team activities, whether it's team dinners beforehand and not worrying about like, oh, but I have this strict diet and I can't eat this and that, and really just trying to have more fun and be more social and realize, I'm not a pro, I don't get paid, and I want to have as much fun as I can. I'm still goal-oriented, but when I stick to the numbers, like you said, it's really, it kind of locks you up and you lose control, and, there's things that you can't control in races, and I think if you're so goal-oriented, it kind of paralyzes you from doing, as good as you can and making those kind of spur-of-the-moment decisions that help you. And if you're a little more loose and just kind of go with the flow, it really helps.
Yeah, definitely. You always have to go into a race with a plan and then be prepared to throw that plan straight out the fucking window.
For sure.
Yeah. Okay, we're going to take a short break. We are going to shake it out a little bit, and we're going to come back with some great information and tips on how to train as hard as you do with kids, and we'll be right back.
Looking to hire a coach for your upcoming triathlon or marathon? Coach Aaron Truslow at Big Pistachio Coaching specializes in helping beginner and intermediate level athletes of all race distances. If you want to cross the finish line of your first 5K or your first Ironman, Coach Aaron has a program for you. No matter what your busy schedule is, Aaron can work a program that fits your lifestyle. Coach Aaron has been in the fitness industry for 30 years and has had hundreds of clients and athletes from across the globe. For information on services like the Limited Coaching Program, custom coaching, one-on-one training, lactate threshold testing, swim, bike, or run analysis, and even Sherpa Concierge, check out the website at www.bigpistachio.com or email aaron@bigpistachio.com.
Okay, we are back. So I just wanted to circle back real quick about your best race ever at Longhorn and talk about how your time was 5 hours and 24 seconds and how you beat your husband.
Yes, I need to caveat that with I did not beat him by very much. And the way races go, if you've raced a lot, is inevitably, especially if you've raced with your significant other, inevitably when you have a good race or a good training day, your spouse has a bad one. It rarely aligns that you both race or train well on the same day. So that's what I'm going to say. In general, my husband is just as athletic or more than me, and normally in regular instances beats me all the time. But not physically, just in races.
That's good. That's another podcast, actually.
Yeah.
So that's interesting that you say that. So on days you're doing really well, he's typically not. And days he's doing really well, you might not be. So you're there to cheer for each other and help each other, or how do you guys emotionally handle that back at home, basically?
Well, we don't train together anymore due to the kids, but I will say that if you can get through training for an Ironman together, then I feel like you and haven't killed each other, you have a pretty rock solid relationship. Because when you're grinding 6 to 8 hours of training together, man, all kinds of things happen, mentally, and just you take out, when you're with the person that you're the most comfortable with, you kind of take out your anger or your struggles or your mental demons on the other person, whether it's their fault or not. So training for Ironman with your spouse or significant other could be the ultimate, marriage counseling. Yeah, I mean, I think some people, maybe it's the best, that's the best quality time they spend together. I think for us, there were certainly highs and lows, and I think that is due to, if I was having a good day, he was struggling and vice versa. And, we would take it out on each other. It was rough, but at the same time, we were each other's biggest cheerleaders and that's awesome. Confidence boosters. So
that's great. That's really good. So now that you guys, and we're going to skip ahead a little bit and we'll come back, but now that you guys have kids, are you going I go, we go, or do you both do races at the same time?
So after we had West, it was, his season and then my season. So as soon as Wes was born, it was really my season because I wanted to get back into racing. I wanted to lose the baby weight and just get back into shape. And then, I mean, I got pregnant with Wynn, you know, when Wes turned 1, so it was quickly Greg's season. It worked out pretty well, but then he pushed himself pretty hard that season, and he got pretty burnt out, and he honestly hasn't touched his tri-bike since that season. So that was September of 2013. He did the 70.3 World Championships in Vegas. I think he still has that.
Back when it was at Silverman, I think?
Yeah, and I think he still has that number tag on his bike.
Okay.
Because he hasn't raced since then. He just got so burnt out. So now I'm the only one who does triathlon, and he's gotten really into rock climbing. So, you know, he's still super athletic and active. It's just kind of manifested in a different way, which actually works really well for us because rock climbing is more of a, I would say, a late start in the day type sport. It's very laid back. You know, it's not as type A. So in general, I take the early mornings, and he'll rock climb kind of later in the day.
That's awesome.
So
speaking of early mornings, and this will bring us back to having the kids, when I wake up at the ridiculousness of dawn, 4:30, whatever time it is, I do what every American does, and the first thing we do is check our phones. And almost 3 to 4 times a week, I check my phone in the morning, and it's a notification telling me that you are on Zwift. and have been like forever. And so you trained very early in the morning. Like, you're on your bike at 5 a.m.
Yeah, so my goal in general on the weekdays is to be done training by around 6:30. Now that the kids are older, there's a little more leeway, but you know, I've been doing this since Wynn was a baby, and at that time, juggling a baby and a 20-month-old was a bit of a challenge, so I needed to be done before the kids woke up. So still to this day, my goal is to pretty much be done with my weekday workouts by 6:30. So here are my alarms.
Yes, I have very similar ones.
Long bike weekday, which I wake up at 4:45. Swim, which is 5:10 because Pure Austin does not open till 5:30. I am usually there around 5:28, and I wait for the gym to open so that I can start swimming.
Okay.
And then I have 5:30, which is weekend long run. 6 a.m., which is just says alarm, and then 6:30 is sleeping in. So if I don't have a workout, which is rare, I can sleep until 6:30.
Incredible. Okay, so those are really early mornings, getting in big workouts. And then after that, you go home or you get your kids ready for school, or not school at this time, but preschool.
Yeah.
And then you head into a full day of work.
Yep.
So do you do any workouts at night, or everything's in the morning?
I would say I do 95% of my workouts either in the morning or at lunch. I try to dedicate my evenings to the kids, and everything just goes so fast after work. I pick them up, they're hungry, you know, I gotta feed them, play for a while, or watch TV, or
gotta be a
draw,
mom.
and then I gotta be in mom mode, and then get them to bed. And you know, once they get to bed, it's clean up, dishes, get ready for the next day. So there's not a lot of time to work out in the evening.
So about how many hours a night of sleep do you get?
I actually get, I think I average 7.5.
Oh,
so
wow.
I sleep pretty well. It's mostly because I can't stay up. Like, I just fall asleep. But I do try to make sure I get a lot of sleep. Now, you know, my kids are young, so they go through stages of regression where they wake up through the night. And there have been times lately where Greg and I have to wake up every couple hours. But for the most part, if our kids are sleeping through the night, we both get, you know, 7 to 8 hours of sleep.
Okay. So somebody new to triathlon coming into this who has kids, who might be thinking there's no way that they could possibly train for a triathlon. Clearly you're doing that, and they have a full-time, you know, you have a full-time job and you're a mom. It's not like you have a house full of nannies taking care of everything.
Nope.
So what kind of tips or tricks do you have to help you stay organized, to help you keep on top of it, so that training is still happening every day?
So we have a whiteboard in the kitchen.
Okay.
And I have, starting on Monday through Sunday, every day, I write down what my workout is. And then Greg writes down what his workout is. And then we sit there and we talk about AM or lunch. And so it's kind of like a puzzle of, you know, who does the AM. And if I'm at home, so like if I'm biking, I'm on the bike trainer in my house.
Okay.
He can go out. So he can go rock climbing or he can go running or lift weights. And then on the days that I swim, which is, you know, generally 2 to 3 times a week, he can get on the bike trainer or he can do kind of strength stuff in our house. And so we just juggle it. And lately he's been getting back into the running. And so I will go run first and then he'll run after me. Or if I go swim, I come back and then he goes and runs. So it's kind of like a puzzle. We try to figure it out. For the most part, I try to stay as consistent as possible on the days of the weeks that I do things. Sometimes I have to change it up, but that helps with kind of juggling everything, is if I can stay consistent on what days I swim, what days I bike, what days I run. It's not always realistic based on work meeting schedules, kids' getting sick or travel, but yeah, that's how we do that. The other secret is kind of getting ready. I get ready for everything that I do in the morning at night.
Okay.
So like if I'm on the bike, I have a whiteboard and I write out my workout the night before. I get my nutrition ready. I get the bike set up. I get my workout programmed in the computer before, and so I just get up. My warm up is when I eat my breakfast on the warm up of the bike, and then I just go. So
just going from there, and those are really great tips. So you're preparing everything at night before you go to bed, so you have no excuses. It's not going to delay you. You get up, you put your shoes on, and you go.
I get up and I go before I even have time to think about not wanting to go.
That's perfect.
Yep.
No excuses. I love that. And the kids are so young. They're going to the same school and everything right now? Yeah. So when they get older, maybe some of that might get a little bit more complicated?
Yeah, so Wes starts kindergarten in the fall, and he starts at 7:30. And right now we kind of have the flexibility, and both of our jobs allow us to kind of be flexible between, 8 and 9 when we want to drop off the kids. So starting at 7:30 is definitely going to be a little bit of a change, but we'll figure it out. We always do.
Yeah.
I mean, even when I was pregnant or even when I just had kids and it was home on maternity leave and with the kid 24/7, Greg and I always worked out, maybe he came home for lunch during his work day and I was at home with the kid to let me get a run in, or I'd have the baby napping on the swing while I biked. You just have to get it in when you can, if it's important to you.
So I think one of the things that's really important if you're a triathlete, a cyclist, a runner, whatever, is to also have as much equipment at home as possible to help you get those things done, like a bike trainer, weights, a treadmill if you have space for it, so that you can still be home and you can still be attentive to your children, but getting your workouts in too.
Yeah, I mean, my kids are used to me being on the bike trainer on the weekend, for example, and bursting in to tell me stories or, say good morning or ask if they can have something for breakfast. And, I could be in the middle of an interval, barely breathing, and it doesn't even faze them. They're just asking me questions and, wanting me to kiss them, and they like to stare at my computer and ask me which character is mine on Zwift and stuff like that. So
I love Zwift.
It's just kind of a part of my life that's become a part of their life, and it's normal. Like if I come home sweaty, Mommy, did you go on a run? That's just kind of a normal thing for them to see me sweaty and see me having just finished working out. And
it's a great example you're setting for your kids too.
I hope so. Yeah. I want them to be active and appreciate kind of not being sedentary and sitting around doing nothing, and kind of all that being active and playing sports or being involved in that kind of stuff has to offer.
So are you hoping your kids play soccer when they
I wouldn't be sad if they got into soccer. My son has already expressed an interest. I just signed him up for a team this fall.
Yay.
Of his own accord. We gave him a lot of different options. And he, for whatever reason, has taken a pretty strong interest in soccer. So we'll see if it sticks. If it doesn't, at least he's given it a try, and I can't be sad about that. But if he takes on to soccer, definitely would probably be a little bit proud.
That's always fun. It is fun. But I do have to warn you that, when the kids get into sports, mine now is 14 and a half, almost 15. We've been playing baseball since he was probably 6 or 7. We're on multiple teams now.
Yeah.
This next weekend, he's going to be playing in Nacogdoches. I don't even know where that is. But this last weekend, we had 5 games over 3 days in 105-degree heat,
So you
pretty
melted.
much. Yeah. So it was over 10 hours sitting in the sun in the heat, and I still managed to get my workouts in too. But so
I've heard it gets harder.
it gets
to
harder.
juggle around the kids' schedules. So
It does. I
I don't know. Maybe I'll be getting up earlier. I don't know.
I have to be flexible on those days, and I moved workouts around so that I could get them in. I knew if I was trying to get an 80-mile bike ride in over the weekend that wasn't going to happen, so I moved it to a weekday. And,
And I
flip
don't
things around.
really hesitate about moving workouts. I think, if I'll look at my schedule and say, oh, a run back-to-back for someone like me who gets injured pretty easily on the run is probably not a good idea. But if I need to be flexible and move a long bike and try to get it in Friday and wake up super early before work and be on the trainer, I've learned that you just have to be flexible.
Yeah.
And I train with some younger people, and they're kind of scared to move their schedule around. I'm like, oh, I just moved that, whatever. Like, I got it in when I could, and it's on a different day. And my whole schedule may look, 25 to 30% different than what my coach has prescribed in terms of days of the week, but the bulk of the workouts are still there, and
as
it's served me well. I mean, I still do okay, so.
And as a parent, you have to juggle stuff. There's no way you don't juggle
and
stuff.
Family first.
Yeah,
We do this for fun. Mm-hmm. We do this for our mental health, our physical health, but at the end of the day, family comes first.
Yeah. And like on Sunday, I ended up missing my workout. I'm like, Coach, missed my workout. I can move it or I can pass on it. Either way. So that's just what you have to do. So you have to let it go because kids are first.
Yep.
Even at 15.
I'm sure. Even probably at 25, I'll still be like, my kids come first.
They come first. All right. Well, I love those tips. I love the idea of the whiteboard. Then everybody knows what's going on.
Yep.
And everybody knows what's happening. And I'm sure as the kids go to school, you'll be making lunches at night and getting all that stuff done too, nice and early, so there are no excuses and everything's getting done. That is great. I love that.
I'm sort of anal like that, just like a triathlete.
And that's we might be A-type, but we're getting shit done.
Yep.
We are getting stuff done. So what's coming up? What are you training for? What are we doing now?
I'm training for the 70.3 World Championships in Chattanooga. That's I guess I'm probably going to sign up for Marble Falls.
Okay.
To kind of keep fresh and keep the racing going, and then I may or may not do jacks. I'm out of town the weekend before, so I always feel a little bit of mom guilt if I'm traveling and then I come back and then do a race. So I haven't decided on that, and then that race, the World Championships, is in September.
Yes, that'll be a great race. I was hoping to be there this year, but it's
tough,
not going to happen.
But, I got to take advantage of the fact that it's in the U.S. because
next year it's not.
Places like South Africa just really aren't feasible for me at this stage in my life.
Yeah.
But so should be good. It's one of those races that's hard to put a goal on because I feel like there's going to be so many fast athletes. So I'm trying to work on a goal so I can stay motivated and try to figure that out. But
and enjoy your day. I mean, you never know who's going to show up to those things. The World Championships and National Championships, it's obviously the best of the best, and you just have to go there knowing that you're trained and you're ready to go and to try to enjoy your day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm glad the last time I did it was in Clearwater, which is pancake flat. So Chattanooga should have some good climbing on the bike to hopefully keep us honest. Mm-hmm. And the fact that running isn't what I would call my strength. I need, a good bike to try to separate myself from those good runners. I just can't get too crazy on the bike, but hopefully a little stronger than some of those really good runners. Of course, there's always those athletes who are just fast at everything. So,
well, you never know.
Yeah.
It could be your day.
Could be.
It could be your day.
Never know.
Well, I'm sure you're going to do great, and I'll be following you online because it's a race that it's really interesting. And 70.3 World Championships is actually, it's on my board behind you that I need to qualify for.
Oh, you're going to get it, girl. You're going to get it.
It's not this year. I had to take it off the bucket list for this year because I'm focusing on a different race. And unfortunately, like you mentioned, next year it is in South Africa, which
I think it's in France the year after. That one might be nice.
Okay, I'll wait for France.
Yeah.
But you just get the problem is I'm getting older and older, so doing it this year would have been a good year to do it.
Well, with an Ironman on the schedule,
it's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I'm interested in that course, going out there and doing the half course or whatever happens.
Yeah, I mean they have a half Ironman out there. And
yeah.
I've heard nothing but good things about
Yeah.
Chattanooga as a race environment, as a family friendly environment. So I'm looking forward to it, and it's not too far from here, which makes it good. And cycle chauffeurs going out there, so makes it easy for my bike transport.
Yeah, we love Kevin, and I've heard as Chattanooga described as what Austin was at one point.
Yeah,
so,
I heard it's kind of an up and coming city, so maybe I'll feel a bit nostalgic for when Austin was a small town with affordable housing prices.
Well, maybe all these Austinites will be moving to Chattanooga.
Yeah,
Who knows? Trying to get it back. Excellent. Well, I'm excited for you on that, and I want to thank you for coming to the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
It's been fun, and I'm excited. And it's when I was really thinking about how long I've known you, it's been a while.
We're kind of like the old timers around here in terms of triathlon.
I know there's so many new kids in town that sometimes when I go to races now, I don't recognize like 80% of the people. So
I keep wondering when I'm going to retire, but it just hasn't happened yet. And I think, I told my husband, when I lose the motivation, but I'm just always motivated. The thing about this sport is it's humbling. Mm-hmm. There are always people faster than you, which I hate. And there's always something you can be better at. Like having 3 sports in one, there's always something you can be better at. And it's what keeps me in the sport. It's frustrating, but then I just have to prove, to myself that I can get better. So I'm still here. I thought maybe one day soon I'd be retired, and I'm still here. You're hanging on.
You're still young though. You're so young. So you got a lot of years left in you.
Hopefully.
A lot of years.
We'll see.
A lot of years. You might even, take a few years off and come back.
Yeah.
I have no doubt that you would come back so strong and people would be like, "Who is that?"
I would never be as brash as to say I'm retired for good.
Yeah, no.
If I retire, it just might be a break.
Breaks are good. Breaks are good. They're healthy too.
Maybe one day there'll be another Ironman in my future, but
that's awesome.
Not anytime soon.
Not anytime soon. No. Well, I like knowing that you know what you want to do. I mean, you don't have to do Ironman.
No, I mean, I think I have more to prove in that distance, but I also acknowledge that I can't get this time back with my kids where they actually want to spend time with me.
Right.
And they still love me and they say they love me, whereas I know realistically there will be at some point in the future where they want nothing to do with me. Maybe that'll be a good time to get back into Ironman.
That's exactly why I chose now. So as your kids get older, when they're young, they want to spend time with you. You need to be there with them when they become stinky teenagers, and they hide in their rooms 24/7. My 14-year-old doesn't know if I'm in the house or not. So we had a long conversation before I signed up for Ironman, and I said, can I do this? Will it be okay? Can I take the time on the weekends to train? Will you be okay being at home alone?
Right.
And at 14, he was like, "Mom, I got a cell phone. I can do this." And he's like, "To be honest, Mom, in the summer, I sleep till noon." So
you'll be off the bike before he even wakes up.
It's true. I am off the bike, done with my brick run. I come in the house, I make breakfast, I knock on his bedroom door. I'm like, "Are you going to get up?" So it does get, it comes back around where you almost feel like you don't have kids. and then that was the time for me to decide, we had that conversation and I decided it was time for me to try my hand at Ironman. So, but as with young kids, the shorter distances are the way to go.
Yeah, I mean, 100%. It's one of those things where when I'm training, I miss them a lot, and I want to be with them. Yeah. And I'm wondering what they're doing. And that's why I try to do most of my workouts before they wake up. But then when I'm with them, I'm like, oh my gosh, I just want to sit down. I can't, I'm so exhausted. Just give me 1 second where I can sit down or go to the bathroom on my own without someone coming with me or get dressed or, but I know I'll miss these days, and I acknowledge that, and I understand. I hopefully have the foresight to see that, and so, triathlon is a hobby, and it's fun, and it keeps me on my toes, but it's not, my biggest priority at this point in my life.
Right. It sounds like you have your priorities pretty straight on, so.
Hopefully.
Awesome. No, you do. Excellent. Well, with that, we're going to say good night, and thank you so much for coming.
Thanks for having me, Erin.
Thanks for introducing me to this Live Oak Hefeweizen.
It's the best, and it's a nice summer beer.
It is. It's very tasty. I can't wait to see you at the next race.
All right. Sounds good.
And have a great night. If you'd like to reach out to Christina, you can reach her at thechristinaedwards@gmail.com.
Thank you for listening to Drunk Athlete, hosted by Coach Erin Truslow. Don't forget to subscribe to Drunk Athlete so you'll never miss an episode. Please share, rate, and review this podcast so more people like you can find it on iTunes. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, please contact Coach Erin at bigpistachio.com.